Hello readers, I'm Amy. I hope this is going to be an okay angle. I figured I'd try it on this side since I'm right-handed, but I was just gonna do a little get ready with me. So welcome to my little beauty space. I have a drawer dedicated to eyeshadows. It's amazing. I love my little it's just this random mason jar holder that I found on Amazon, and it's perfect for my lipsticks and my brushes. And then, of course, I have my awesome mirror. It's got the magnification side, it's got the regular side, I can move it around. This is just my bathroom space. I don't know that my husband ever uses this corner because he's not gonna touch anything. So yeah, I just thought that I would turn this into a little life update, a little chat. Hopefully this turns out okay because it's kind of hard to see if anything is focused when my eyes aren't focused. So that's something I would like to see more beauty tubers have eyeglasses. Because a lot of people who wear makeup also have eyeglasses, and sometimes you have to work around that a little bit. I'm starting off with the Rare Beauty primer. Everything that I'm using I'll go ahead and put in the description below. I might just do a little screen pop-up in case I forget to name something. I'm gonna go ahead and do primer today. I haven't been wearing foundation that much lately because my skin's been pretty good, but it's decided to act up these days. You can use a brush, you can use a sponge. I've just been using my hands lately. I got the Rare Beauty primer because I'm a Selena Gomez fan and it looked shiny and sparkly, and I'd never tried primer before. And I haven't really noticed a difference in how long my makeup stays on, but wow, my face gets shiny and I love it. That dewy look is really in. Anyways, life updates. So I have been doing freelance work with graphic design for a little over a month, probably a month and a half now at this point. And I love it. It's not like a 40-hour-a-week sort of a thing. I would say all in all, maybe the work I do is equal to probably 20 hours a week or so. So I am still in school. That's going really well. I have 2 classes a term, and I don't know how many terms, or I'm not going to do the math right now. I have an 8-week term, and I'm doing 2 classes a term. So far, 2021, I'm doing full-time. It's really, you gotta hit the ground running with these classes, since it is just 8 weeks. You're supposed to dedicate about 16 hours a week to class, and I love it. Right now I am in digital imaging, where I just learned how to animate an advertisement on Photoshop, and I'm so proud of myself. I wasn't sure on this class when I started it because there were so many instructions, and I'm finding when it comes to graphic design, written instructions just don't work for me. I get so lost and confused. So I start looking up all these videos on what it seems like the class is talking about, with making sure that you're doing your masking correctly and all this other stuff. And it's it looks like I think I already know how to do all of this. I'm not entirely sure. So I felt at the start of the class I was just kind of winging it. And I finally really start to get into the class. I'm finding some examples online. We have to design an advertisement for a resort. And I'm Googling resort advertisements, and I happen to find advertisements made in this class. And I'm oh, I'm actually ahead of the class still a little bit. It's been a year that I've been taking classes. I think I've been doing graphic design classes specifically for about 6 months, but with the self-teaching that I did with Skillshare and with YouTube before that, I'm ahead of the class still, which is awesome. I'm not bored with it you might think I would be. A lot of times I think if you're ahead in other classes you might get a little bored with it, but I've been loving it. It's good to practice, to make sure that I know what I'm doing, to double check myself, and I have still learned a few new things. I've been doing eyeshadow first lately because of Fallout, but the Juvia's Place Wahala 2 palette, this is gorgeous. Anyone who's been complimenting my eye looks lately, most of them have been done with this palette. I just love it. And it has blues that I can use. The other palette that I had, I'm actually giving it away to a friend now. It was the Jaclyn Hill like little blue vault palette. The blues just didn't work for me. And this palette has like these purpley like periwinkle blues, and I'm loving it. I haven't actually decided what I'm doing yet today. I figured I might go blue since I'm wearing like my blue sweater. I tend to go a little monochromatic like that, but I don't know. Let's see where I want to start with this. But yeah, classes are going great. The other class that I'm in is History 200. So I have to pick an event to research. If you've been watching my videos lately, you know that I am doing Beata Sirota Gordon. Love her so much. She is my new feminist hero. She was born in Austria, and she was Jewish. Her dad was Russian Jewish. Her mom was Austrian Jewish. And in 1946, she wrote the women's rights into the Japanese Constitution. And that's just really awesome. Like, I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my paper. And I'm talking to my husband, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Do you have any insight, any ideas? And he's telling me about Beata. And I end up finding her memoir and reading it for class. And it's just awesome. Because he was a Japanese minor in college. And it's like, why haven't I heard of this person? So doing that, I had a lot of history classes. I don't know if this school I guess this school just has a really big history requirement, which isn't a bad thing. I'm learning so much more. Or maybe not that I'm learning more, I'm feeling more confident in these history classes than I did growing up. Not that I was ever bad at history, necessarily, but in these college courses, it's not about memorizing dates of events. It's not about being knowledgeable on the most important people or anything. It's more, why was history written this way? Why do we view history in this way? What questions should we be asking about historical events? It's so much more applied. So it's not, what year was the Japanese Constitution rewritten? It's like, what went into that Constitution? Who made the Constitution? Why did they feel that these different rules were necessary? College history is so much better than high school history because it's not the pressure of memorization. It's about exploring what you want to know. So that's been really interesting. And the last couple weeks, it's really influenced my reading since I got Beata's memoir. I feel like this is not going well because I can't really see, and I don't know what the camera can see, but whatever. We're going with it. But yeah, freelance itself is kind of like my sideline thing while I'm concentrating on school. And it's gone surprisingly well. I've had so many like friends and family members that I've been in contact with who've needed logo designs. I actually just finished a portrait project for someone. I was really nervous about that because I hadn't really done much for portraiture in vector graphics. Vectors where like you're drawing in lines, you can resize it and it's not going to get pixelated or anything. But I went ahead and tried that and the client was super happy with the result. I loved working with her. She's always been a really sweet person. And I got to explore my skills. I actually tried out a little bit of collage stuff for that project to see how that would turn out. Because I love the idea of collages, but I haven't really done too much work with collages. So it's so much fun to have that experience, to work with people I'm familiar with while I'm practicing like how to build these client relationships. There's so much blue on my face right now. I feel like Get Ready With Me's are so much more complicated than people would lead you to believe because talking and trying to concentrate on what you're talking about while also applying makeup, like, that is no joke. So to people who are successful at it, go you. But again, that's also why I've been doing eyeshadow first, because then I can just clean it up with everything else. My lines aren't usually this messy. Something else that I've been finding with freelance work is that I'm still very much a night owl. I feel like it's insomnia. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just having worked overnight for so many years. Because about halfway through college, I got a job. I'm still in touch with the people there. I love that place. Where I was working until 1 o'clock in the morning and then taking the bus to the college and then walking to my apartment from there. So I was usually up until 2 or 3 in the morning, because I can't go to sleep when I first get home from working. I need that downtime to just calm myself, you know? And moved here. I did case management over the day, you know, but then I went back to working overnights at the psychiatric residential treatment facility, where I was working 11 p.m. to 9 a.m. And I don't know if my body is just set in that schedule now, but I'll try to go to bed at, say, 9 or 10 o'clock when I'm feeling a little tired. But by the time my husband comes to bed, I'll be reading on my Kindle in the dark, tossing and turning, and I'm finally like, I'm not doing anything useful right now. I feel like I should be working because I'm awake and I have energy. So 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm sending out business emails. And I'm like, I hope no one thinks that they have to answer these business emails at 3 o'clock in the morning. That's just when I'm sending them, because that's when I'm awake right now. Not every night, but a lot of nights. I've tried to have some control over it with like some of my sleeping medication. I've been trying to eat dinner around like between 7 and 9, because I get really hungry before bed, and I think that's something else that keeps me up, but I haven't really gotten to do that much with I haven't had much success with trying to control my sleep. I got the wrong color of foundation once. It's like one shade too dark. So I've just been using that as like a kind of bronzer, because this foundation is expensive and I don't want it to go to waste, you know? But yeah, freelance has been going great. Shout out to Hillary from Melted Books and Victoria from What Victoria Read. They were essentially my first clients. They were looking for social media banners, and I did that, and that was amazing. They gave me testimonials for my website. I do finally have my website up. It doesn't have a ton on it, but like it's up, it's public, it has some work on it, and I can have my work out there while continuing to make it better. So that was a big step for me. So to all you booktubers out there, if you're looking for some banner art or someone to help with thumbnails or just kind of any odds and ends design jobs, like, let me know. I'm not super expensive. I've been charging about $50 a project lately. I've seen people go for so much more, and I'm like, whoa, how are you charging that? But other people also have a lot more experience than I do. I'm not generating an income yet. I've definitely lost money, but I think that's kind of what happens when you're going freelance, is if you want to do something like this that you love and you need time to build it, you're going to lose money before you make money. But with our current living situation, that's okay. We're safe financially. I wouldn't say we're comfortable, but we're safe. We're not going to be homeless or anything anytime soon. And our cats are very well fed. Speaking of food, that is something else huge that has changed. So working overnights, I'm always like, I'm so tired. I didn't make meals for myself that often. The idea of cooking was so exhausting. Like, who has the time and energy to cook? I used to love baking. I still did a little bit of baking, but it's like it takes so much time and so much energy, And that time and energy could be spent doing homework, could be spent relaxing for once. Or towards the end there, when my depression was getting really bad, I would just spend all of my time at home sleeping because I was constantly exhausted. And whenever I went freelance, it's like, I have time, I'm gonna cook something. I have this highlighter stick from ColourPop. I love making my face shine so brightly. Anyways, I started playing around more with my cookbooks, because it's like, well, I have time, I can kind of enjoy my grocery shopping. Like, it's like, I have time now, I can play around with this. I myself, another reason that I didn't previously like cooking, was that with the kind of time that I had, it's like, I'll make something for myself for dinner at work, and that's it. And I am an extremely picky eater. I'm probably one of the pickiest adult eaters that I know. I'm very, very picky. So I didn't really buy a lot of vegetables for myself. I survive on bread, sugar, and potatoes. That is my life. Don't come for me with diets. Don't tell me how good I look, because I have all sorts of health issues. So, not stepping in that right now. But I didn't really like cooking for myself, but now that I had all this free time, it's like, oh, I'll cook for Chris, because he's always wanting something a little different, a little heartier, to eat. So, like, I'll cook something for him. Quick little tip here, if you were struggling with liquid liner, before I got good at it, or decent at it, what I actually did was you take a pencil liner to kind of mark out where you want the liner to go, because it's a little easier to remove and you don't need like makeup wipes and stuff to take it off. And then when you have that pencil liner down, trace over it with the liquid liner. That'll help you get more comfortable with it and know what shape you're going for. Had to pause to do eyeliner because talking and doing eyeliner is impossible. So yeah, I start cooking for Chris. It's like, I have time, I can experiment with new recipes that I wouldn't necessarily cook for myself. I can learn to get better at this. And there's also this idea that I'm at home all the time. I need to be useful. And that's a problem in a lot of ways. I have a friend who recently went back to work, but he was just kind of doing his own projects and stuff and not like working for a couple of months, just taking a break, and we get to talking and we have similar feelings where like we feel like we have to be doing something all the time because we're home. Like, we're just staying at home. We're not doing anything important. And that's not true. Like, just because something isn't generating an income for you doesn't mean that it's not important. Like, it's also important to have that downtime to be able to find something that you're interested in. And right now, with COVID and everything, it's actually been a great time for graphic design because everyone's going freelance and everyone needs a logo. But yeah, we're just talking like you shouldn't feel guilty for staying home. You shouldn't feel like you have to be generating an income or you're of no use to anyone. So that was some problematic thinking of mine for a while. And like, I knew it was not the right way to think, and everyone's telling me it's fine. And Chris is like, it's fine. You're going to school. You've got this little sideline business. Like, you're fine. And I'm finally kind of accepting that. Like, it's okay if I stay home all day and don't get the laundry done, because I have other stuff that I'm working on, and I'm having a good time, and I am bringing in a little bit of money, and I'm working on school, and that's important too. But through trying to be useful in all of that, I start really experimenting with cooking, and I find I love cooking, and I love cooking for other people. Not so much cooking for myself, because like I said, I am incredibly picky when it comes to food. But cooking for someone else is just so much fun for me. I've definitely screwed it up a couple times, for sure, and Chris is always really nice about it, and he gives me a little feedback on it. But you know, if you screw up in cooking, like, okay, I learned something. And I know the basics of finding my way around the kitchen, because I grew up baking with my mom constantly. We just loved to bake together. And I was in dance, so she would bake meals. Or she would cook meals, she would bake things for like the whole dance company or for little like fundraisers that we were doing. So we were just always baking huge amounts of food together. So I know the basics, I just haven't had time to dedicate to it in the last several years. And I finally get to be at home, work on my own time, which is honestly like 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. And I can do some of the chores, I can do some of the work, I can play with the cats and make sure they're not getting too anxious, I can cook meals, try something new and creative. It's been really good. Like, I've considered every now and then, I'm like, should I go back to the mental health work, even if it's just relief, like bring in a little bit extra money for a paycheck? And my automatic response is no. Absolutely not. And I don't think I miss it at all. There's maybe some coworkers that I miss or some kids that I felt close to, but anyone working in mental health, you are a superhero. Seriously, you're a superhero. Nurses are superheroes too. Daughter of a nurse right here. Probably helped me get where I am. But working in mental health is so hard on your own mental health. And just, you're awesome. And take care of yourself. And you deserve a break. Because I really needed this break. So this is kind of it for my look. I like how it turned out. My eyeshadow was a little messy at the beginning there, but I fixed it up. I'm all super shiny, and I love that. Yeah, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down below. I know I mentioned a while back making a YouTube design channel. I would still like to do that, but so far what I've tried doing for recording just makes editing completely exhausting and kind of losing the sense of what direction I want to go in with it. So I don't know. I'm still hoping to make design a thing. Hello! Yeah, that will be it for this video. Please like, subscribe, be my friend on social media, and we will see you in my next video. Bye, friends.